Veterans Home here is operated solely by the state of California, as opposed to the veterans hospitals, which are operated by the Veterans Administration, operated by the U.S. government. The Veterans Home is situated at the mouth of the wine-producing Napa Valley.
All these ranges that you see around here were covered with cattle. Eventually, the viviculturists began to put in grapevines. This became more of a specialized economy. About 12 men from the Civil War in the vicinity of San Francisco decided that there were a number of people that were displaced. If they could find a home for these displaced soldiers in the Napa Valley, that they purchased some land. They bought almost 1,000 acres of land. When they actually did start the construction of the home, it was only comprised of just a very few. A lot of the boys that had gone into the Civil War originally had come off from farms and just could not understand what to do. They had no trade, so that is the reason that they bought property up here, and then the soldiers themselves became farmers up here. It became almost a socialistic type of a idealistic, socialistic state, little city state up here, in which everybody had a part to keep himself busy and to support the rest of the people up here by truck gardening, by taking care of chickens or growing vegetables or doing some orchard work. Many of the employees in the medical services, such as in the hospital as nurses or nurses' aides or even as x-ray technicians or surgical techs, were home members themselves. Now we have almost all of our employees here are civil service employees, and we have very close to 900 employees.
In 1956, I came to work here as a staff nurse, and I've been here ever since. The Veterans Home is a community within itself. We have a medical facility. The dining facilities are available. We have just a multitude of recreational facilities. I can remember when there was a very distinct military flavor to the Veterans Home, and there has been a deliberate effort to get away from that. And I think that's very good, because I don't think people should be soldiers all their life. I lived in Yountville as a teenager, and the Veterans Home at that time was rather open to the community. There was a tremendous amount of enthusiasm years ago for the big days at the Veterans Home. And by the big days, I'm referring to things like VFW and American Legion, and the Cootie. Cootie Day was really big. Everybody wore silly hats, and they had these little cootie pins all over their clothes, and everybody was kind of crazy and really had a good time on Cootie Day.
They were usually big picnics held up here at that time. Gigantic picnics, not the type that they're holding now. According to the films that I've seen, they would have competitive drill teams from various organizations. State dignitaries would often address the gatherings, and it was common for the governor of the time to be a visitor to these festivities. Colonel Nelson M. Holderman was a World War I hero and commandant of the home for over 2 decades. In 1926, Colonel Holderman returned. He had made up his mind that someday he was going to replace all the wooden structures on the home grounds with reinforced concrete, fireproof buildings for the safety of our membership.
My first paycheck was $35, which was a lot of money those days. I was working at the Panama Exposition in San Francisco in a bunch of minstrel show guys. I replaced a man. I was a young man, of course, and I replaced a man named Tommy Harris, and my partner was named Chick Beeman. I was in the First World War in the Army. Second World War I was in the Navy. And I came out of the Navy in '53, and I came to the home in '54. If I had to go back over it again, I'd skip World War I, go to World War II. A little different. I was in both.
What was your experience in World War I?
Oh, boy. Well, I didn't have any transportation. Out on the foot. Next thing, we didn't have the food. We had a lot of hardtacks in Europe. And we didn't have much communication. I was in the Signal Corps. And most of all, I noticed what I enjoy a lot is our arts and crafts, the workshop. That's right. With it.
He would prefer to have more leisure time to himself and less bands, less dancing and shows. Well, when I came here, nearly everything was run by the veterans. And all the way down the line, it was the veteran that was doing the work and getting a little pay for it. But the fact that the veteran was getting room and board, getting half of normal salary besides was quite an item. I've been living in the home 27 years.
How long have you been living in the home now?
About 20 years.
20 years.
Off and on.
What are some of the things that you've seen that have changed since you've been in the home?
There's been not a great deal of change.
When did you do your military service?
1918.
1918.
17, 18.
How old are you now?
91.
91. So
You'll
what kind
catch up someday.
I know. I hope so. What about, what did you do in the service?
I was carrying a rifle.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where was that?
And marching. Squads east and squads west. Were you in there?
Well, one of the most exciting things was in the northern Philippines in October. And that was a long ways from Manila. We'd done hiked it up there. And we was then at the foothills of the Great Cagayan Mountains. We had a battalion lost in those mountains for 6 months. We had a battalion lost in there from October 99 till March 1900. Oh, first went into the regular service. That was at Cinnabon, Montana. That was also in 99.
You still like a little shot of dry sherry now and then, right?
Oh, well, yes, I like it every morning that I can get it before breakfast. Oh, yeah, yes, that's the only thing stimulates me, and after that, I don't want any more. No, I haven't changed so much. Well, I feel just about the same as when I was 99. Well, I'm 102 in 1 day.
102 in 1 day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, after the war, I went to college, and I worked. I went through a couple of marriages. Well, I came up because of my health. I was at Palo Alto Veterans Hospital. I had quite a few surgeries, you know, my legs and back, and my arm. Mine's been broken up so much because I've been in the hospital. I'd go in for one period of time, they'd make some improvements on my arm or hand, and then I just rest. And I decided the best place for me to come, because of the small income I have, is to come up here to live. Yeah, I have plans of going back to college here and going on. I like to get at least a master's degree in a field. Well, in Korea? Oh, well, I started in 1950, first hitch, until 1953, and then I came out in 1953 and re-entered in 1953 until 1956. So I went through several major engagements there in the battle. I was at Incheon. I was up the reservoir when they were getting the Marines out, and then I was in the hospital for a while. And then I went back up the line again. Then I caught shrapnel in my arm.
And then you were captured?
I was captured at Fort Chop on the last day. Maybe furious. You know, get caught in a position like that. I went through quite a bit, and then at that point in time, it does happen. I later escaped with 13 others. I was with Captain Williams at that time. I was pretty lucky, pretty fortunate.
Mrs. Carpenter, could you tell a little bit about what happened to Mr. Carpenter during the war?
No.
Yes.
No, I don't want you to put that in there.
That is really explains why we're here. Barney was shot down over France, and he was not a pilot, but he was a flying sergeant. He was in charge of the airplanes on the ground, and he saw the enemy planes in the sky. And he was not a pilot, but he fetched a pilot. They went up after the enemy, and he took a burst of shrapnel in his leg. He carried that around with him for 50 years, which made his life one of pain. This portrait is a memento of our son, who was killed very tragically in one of those senseless murders. He wanted a memento of our 50th wedding anniversary, so he had this picture painted at that time. Now it's all we have left of him. And after all that turmoil and tumult of our lives, we have this place of rest.
World War I veterans are at the retirement age now. Well, we
very glad to be able to take advantage of the marriage quarters they have for soldiers. The setting in 1,000 acres park-like hills. It's quite a contrast from the work I've been doing. I've been working night and day, taking care of a large apartment house. And when we found this place, we were delighted. And we grabbed it before someone else grabbed it or something like that.
My feud with Father Time. Though the years you laid upon me are 85, I continue to defy you and shout, I'm still alive. You have robbed me of my vigor, and my eyes are bleary-eyed. I shall continue to defy you and shout, I'm still alive. You have changed my soldier's posture, and my strength has taken a dive. I shall continue to defy you and shout, I'm still alive. For as long as I keep breathing, though it may be a shallow wheeze, I shall continue to defy you and do as I damn please. Don't think I have surrendered because you have heard a sigh. I shall refuse to knuckle under until the day I die. You say my usefulness is over? Good. Only for a rocking chair? Ha! I continue to defy you and do the things I dare. There's no fear in me when I see you in my sight, because I love the life I'm living. I shall intensify the fight. You may have put me out to pasture in this old veteran's home. Please don't mistake my gesture, because I'm not alone.